Yeah, I don't have ID. Like, you're pretty tall. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those are good.
You got tall young?
Yeah, I finished growing. I was about 6'9" at 15,
Bullshit.
15, 16.
Oh wow. So you were fully height wise. You were there.
Yeah,
already.
I hadn't filled out.
Yeah.
I was like I grew up and I was like kind of a chubby kid. Then I hit a growth spurt.
Yeah.
I was like 200 pounds.
Goodbye, Chubb.
Yeah. I was like 200 pounds at like 5'8", and then I like shot up to 6'4", and I was still 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I got up to like 6'9". I was like 210.
Oh yeah.
And then like by the time I graduated, I was 6'10", and sometime between then and like third year university, I grew another inch.
Oh.
I totally thought that I'd stopped growing. And I was
Yeah,
like, all right,
yeah.
I'm done. That's it. That's fine. Whatever. 6'10". And my coach at UVic kept on putting on the roster that I was 6'11". I'm like, no, dude. Like, I'm 6'10". Don't lie. They're like, oh, all the coaches do it. Like, that is like, see, he's 6'6" on the roster, but he's actually 6'4", and we make it so that we look more intimidating to the other teams. It's like, but it's fucking lying. Like, I don't want to go on the court. They're like, this guy's not actually. And then I'm like, oh man, I feel all like shit. Like, that guy's a liar. He's a fraud.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
fuck that guy. He's only 6'10".
Yeah, fuck that guy. He says he's 6'11". He's phony.
Yeah, exactly. Piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, what a loser. I bet you he's lying about everything else too. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be that guy. So I was like super self-conscious about it. So I guess maybe like subconsciously my brain's like, oh, well, we'll fix that. There we go, grow another inch. Then I remember showing up next year for the training camp, and he's like, all right, so we're putting you on 6'11". I'm like, yes, we are. And I just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, 6'11".
Give me that inch.
There we go.
Nice. What a hoot.
Yeah.
So I guess because you skipped that grade, so that gave you the ability to get out of the house sooner.
Yeah.
And you went to UVic.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
So you moved down to Victoria.
Yeah, moved down to Victoria. I was doing basketball camps, like going to like the Vikes camps, like in the summer camps and things like that for basketball. And coach is like, so where are you going after high school? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get good for high school. And they're like, start thinking about after high school.
Yeah.
Come down to UVic. I'm like, all right. So it just kind of.
Did you get a scholarship?
No, like the Canadians a little weird about that.
It is, isn't
it? Like it's basically an academic scholarship for that. So if you're on the basketball team and you like make like certain grades and all these kind of things, so it's a lot more. It's not like in the States where you're like, oh yeah, full ride
on sports. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like you get the sports scholarship and then you just maintain grades. This is like you get the sports scholarship conditional on you achieve certain grades.
Oh, I see.
So it's. Yeah, and it's also like you get like I think it was eligible for. I think that at that time they said like $3,000.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like
not a lot.
Yeah, it's like whatever. And like this isn't really whatever. I'll just make sure that I. What was I gonna say? I just make sure that I'm basically just taking the right courses and not having too hard of a workload so that I can still play basketball. So I can still go to school.
Yeah.
Because didn't really want to, like, because I would have had to have like a full 5-course load, and me, the brilliant kid that I was, and I mean that as a fucking idiot, I mean by brilliant, I decided I was going to play varsity basketball and take computer science as my major under the engineering faculty, which is like a 6-course load with like 3 labs or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
good luck. No time.
Yeah, they're like, all right, so most of you are going to need to take only 3 courses and probably want to be like on an arts degree in order to be able to have enough time to play basketball. And I'm like, so being in like engineering faculty on one of the heaviest course loads, is that good?
Yeah, no, it's not good.
No, it's not good. So I fucked myself over pretty hard on that one.
Did you? So were you able to just adjust those out and figure that out? Or?
It got a little dicey.
Yeah.
Because it was just too hard to maintain both. So I dropped a bunch of courses.
Yeah.
Then I ended up changing majors and didn't stick with computer science because that was the biggest thing. And this is like fucking mad because I remember going with like office hours with one of my profs, and she's like, oh yeah, the greatest thing about computer science is that literally you can just take yourself, lock yourself in an office and just start coding. just typing away at computers and like just do your thing.
Oh,
and, like,
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
sounds so great.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, like cool, like with dim lights and like pale skin and like never see people,
chips and pop and like, caffeine and
She's like, it's great. You just go work for like 2 days straight or something, and then you just like do whatever you want. I'm like, it sounds awful. I don't want any part of this at all.
Yeah,
and so I was like, comp sci's not for me. Like this is awful. So and then like I ended up switching around, changing majors, and like looking back on it, it's like, fuck, why didn't I just stick with it? Because if you look at like what the classic like tech startup is, it's like, yeah, they're kind of computer nerdy guys, but then there's like the couple of them that can actually that have people skills, and then they've got like beer taps and like the break room, and they're like got places like Google, which have got like nap pods and all things like that. This was before any of those things were like really prominent. Like shit, like I could have actually jumped on like ground floor of some of those things if I'd stuck with that. But
who knew?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
It was impossible to know.
I mean,
there was a point where like computer repairman was a thing when I was leaving school, right? Well, that job doesn't exist. Nobody repairs computers. You just toss it away and buy a new one.
Yeah.
So no one would know that coding was a thing. Coding's a thing now still, I guess. But aren't they farming all that stuff out now to places like India and China where labor's cheap?
Yeah, but it's all about like, I don't know enough about it, but it seems like it's like one of those, like if you know the architecture. So it's like you're going to build a really nice house. It's like, okay, cool.